Hello, friends and neighbors. Dr. Ken Berry here, family physician. I'm going to hang out with you for the next hour or so and answer as many questions as you might have about a proper human diet, about medical conditions, about medications. This is not medical advice, but I think you will find it quite useful. I try to go live at different times during the day and night so that people on other continents will have a chance to join and ask their questions as well. As you come in, please hit the thumbs up button. And in the comment section, you can ask me your questions. I'll try to put a capital Q or a question mark at the beginning so that I'll know that you're asking a question and not chatting in the comments, which you're welcome to do. None of this is medical advice. This is just me answering your questions. I am a family physician. I've been practicing family medicine for over 22 years. So I've seen a thing or two and know a thing or two. And I used to be a severely obese, pre-diabetic family physician. And on my journey to fix that, I have relearned many of the principles of a proper human diet. And I'm happy to share those with you if you have any questions. Linda's watching from Kentucky. Where did Country Mule go? Comments are starting to come. Nina's watching from Sweden. Hey, Nina, good to have you here. Here is Sheryl Crow from Michigan. I think it's the other Sheryl Crow. Angie says, I would like to know what butter to use. So the most important thing to remember about butter is to get real butter. And it should say cream and salt on the ingredients, or just cream. If it has canola oil, if it has any other vegetable oil, do not buy that. Do not consume that. You want to eat only real butter, cook with only real butter. Any brand of butter, I think, is fine. Most likely, if the cows were exclusively grass-fed, then the butter is going to have a better fatty acid profile and probably have some phytonutrients as well, even though that's not supposed to happen. We know that grass-finished beef contains phytonutrients, polyphenols that a lot of people think occur only in plants. They can actually be in the butter and be in the milk if the cow is fed properly its entire life. So Kerrygold is a reputable brand that's shipped from across the ocean. If you live in the United States, I would recommend that you find a local butter from grass-fed cows, happy cows, and use that butter exclusively. Bobby says, my 12-year-old son wants to start carnivore. Is that okay for him? 100%, absolutely. The average 12-year-old is eating the highly processed, high-carb, standard American diet, and nobody's worried about that kid. You know, kids are literally living on Pepsi and Doritos and Ding Dongs and eating Lucky Charms for breakfast with chocolate milk. Nobody's concerned about are they getting all the vitamins and minerals they need? No, they definitely are not. But if your son wants to be a carnivore and live on fatty red meat and eggs and chicken and pork and seafood, then that's, oh God, that must be dangerous. No, that's 100% fine. There have been multiple societies and multiple tribes who have lived on a carnivore diet. So yeah, it's totally fine. Totally safe, totally healthy. Much more nutritionally complete than the poor kids who are eating the standard American diet. Rochelle's in Mississippi. Tell me where you're watching from. What city, what state, what country? Where are you at in the world? Or just type in hi in the comments. Don't be shy. There's no reason to be shy or bashful. Thank you very much, Derek. Here's Sue from Tucson. Robert, I would minimize fructose as much as I possibly could, unless you're wanting to gain fat for the winter. We see multiple examples of this in other mammals. They become very hungry in the late summer, early fall. And that's about the same time the berries and the fruit gets ripe, and they will ravenously eat that so that they can gain a few pounds of fat so they don't starve to death during the winter. Also keep in mind that the normal tests that we would check for glycation, including the hemoglobin A1C, the glycated albumin, the fructosamine test. Even though fructosamine has fructo in the name, it does not check for fructose glycation, nor does the A1C, nor does the glycated albumin. They only check for glucose glycation. And so a lot of these people who are eating lots of fruit or drinking lots of fruit juice or fruit juice smoothies, and they're saying, oh, but my A1C is beautiful. Yeah, it's because the A1C test doesn't check for fructation. It's not designed to check for that. It checks for glycation with glucose. And that confuses a lot of people, but that's the truth. Dark sky. If eggs are an appropriate food for humans, why do so many people have allergies to them? That's an excellent question. So the reason that we recommend eggs is because of the macronutrient composition. It's all fat and protein. So if you're looking at a proper human diet, just in the low carb, then eggs fit the bill. I do not think that eggs are an ancestrally appropriate food for daily consumption, like 10 eggs a day. Although many people do that and they're as healthy as they can be, there are some people who the white of the egg is a little bit inflammatory. And if they eat too many eggs too often, they'll have inflammatory issues. They'll have gut issues, joint issues, skin issues. And for a lot of people on the carnivore diet, they're like, yeah, but I'm still my psoriasis or my eczema or my joints or whatever. And when they cut out the egg whites, especially, that almost always goes away. And I've come to the point where I'll eat 6 egg yolks at a time. I might put 1 or 2 of the whites in, or I might not put any whites in. And there was no time in human history before 12,000 years ago where we could eat 10 eggs a day. That never happened. Now, rest assured that when we found a nest of eggs, whether it was wild chickens or if it was any kind of bird egg, we ate all the eggs, and we probably ate the shell too. But that didn't happen every day. What we did have access to every day was fatty meat. And so I think eggs are fine from a macronutrient standpoint. And if you can eat eggs 10 a day, 15 a day, 20 a day, I don't think there's any danger in that. But some people notice that they have some inflammation if they eat too many egg whites too often. Some people, if they buy pastured eggs from a local source instead of supermarket eggs, that goes away. Some people have to switch to quail eggs or duck eggs, and then they don't seem to have any inflammation at all. But if you're eating a carnivore diet, you're still having some weird, annoying inflammation, I would try 30 days without egg whites. And if that doesn't fix it, I would try 30 days without eggs. Good question. Disease. Thanks, Dr. Berry. Any suggestions on how to reverse, improve diabetic peripheral neuropathy? Yeah, the first and most important thing you want to do is get rid of the type 2 diabetes. Or if you have type 1 or MODY or LADA, you want to lower your carbohydrate intake enough so that you have a normal A1C. Then it's a waiting game. You keep eating a proper human diet, and you wait for those nerves to regrow, to replace the defective cells. Sometimes this can happen in a few weeks. Sometimes it takes many, many months, as in over a year, depending on how severe your neuropathy was, depending on which nerve fibers were affected by your neuropathy. There's more than one kind. We've had hundreds of people report improvement, great improvement, almost complete resolution of their neuropathy. And then some people are like, yeah, it's 70% better, but dude, that's a great victory compared to how bad it used to be. So it's a waiting game at that point. You adopt a proper human diet, fix the diabetes, and then you keep eating a proper human diet. And the diabetes stays away, but also the peripheral neuropathy very, very often gets much less severe. And if any of you are new to this and you're like, wait, what is a proper human diet? Down in the show notes, there's a link. You can get a free copy of my Proper Human Diet Guidebook. It's about 20 pages. You fill out the little form and I'll email it to you immediately. And it effectively gives you everything you need to know to get started right now eating a proper human diet. Just believe, just getting started on proper human diet tomorrow, will I shed being tired along with the fat? How soon? It depends, just believe. Some people notice that their energy level is better after just a few days of a proper human diet. Some people, it takes a few weeks or even a few months, but it's going to come. Okay. It's going to come when you find out where you fall on the proper human diet spectrum. That could be low carb, still with whole, real one ingredient foods. That could be ketogenic with whole, real one ingredient foods. That could be Ketovore, or that could be carnivore, or it may be the lion diet option. All those are on a proper human diet spectrum. Okay. And so play around on the spectrum and find out where your energy is best, where your fat loss is best. Thank you very much, Deborah. Suits, my girlfriend and I are both salt to taste, but she likes it much more salty than me. Is this her body needing more than mine? Yeah. And so the taste buds of the human tongue are much more complicated than the average scientist or nutrition researcher gives them credit for. They'll actually tell you things you need and don't need. Okay. Now, taste buds can be fooled because 100,000 years ago, if you found something sweet, you definitely should have eaten that because you were always in danger of starving to death. And so your taste buds will fool you when it comes to sweet things and also things that have been engineered by food engineers to hit the bliss point, which is the perfect amount of sugar and salt and fat. You can wind up thinking, oh, I must need Doritos and Ding Dongs because my taste buds really like them. No, we're talking about whole, real one ingredient foods here. And so, yeah, many people need more salt than other people. There is a normal distribution curve when it comes to all nutrition needs. Some people need more, some people need less. Some people metabolize more, some metabolize less. It all depends. If you salt the taste, you're not going to go wrong. We're also trying to figure out why she is always so cold. Could it somehow be related? Yes. Very often salt craving can belie the fact that you have an iodine deficiency. And it's not that all salt contains iodine. It's just it seems that for some reason in our physiology, your body seems to think they're related. Although most salt occurring naturally is not a great source of iodine. All seafood is a great source of iodine. So that may be where the salt iodine connection comes from. And so I've got a video on this YouTube channel about iodine rich foods. And if she'll start eating those, or she can get some of the daily minerals that I helped formulate. There's a link down in the show notes if you want to get a bottle of the daily minerals and try those out. That has 500 micrograms of iodine in each daily serving. But many people who are always cold hands, cold feet, the cold hardwood floor hurts my feet. That's almost always an iodine insufficiency. Chicken dinner. What seasonings are allowed on beef, butter, bacon, and eggs? Salt, pepper, any seasoning really that does not contain any sugar or any weird preservatives or any weird chemicals. It's just basically ground up herbs, right? And so, but salt and pepper are fine as long as the pepper doesn't have any added stuff in it. Now, some few people are sensitive to pepper and they need to eliminate that. But if that's true, you probably already know who you are. And that doesn't mean that when you grind pepper, you sneeze. You must be sensitive to it. It makes everybody sneeze. Alan says, I have no gallbladder. How do I eat fat safely? So even for people without a gallbladder, eating fat is not dangerous. If you increase the amount of fat that you're eating too quick, Alan, you might have a few days of diarrhea as your body adjusts to it. But if you increase the amount of fat you're eating slowly each day, a little bit more fat, most people can convert to keto, ketovore, carnivore, and not have any problems whatsoever. But there's no danger from eating too much fat. Omid, thanks, Doc. Okay, on carnivore, garlic tablets You don't need to waste your money on garlic tablets. Avocado is not carnivore. If you like avocado and want to eat it, then you can choose the keto option or the Ketovore option and have some avocado. Olive oil, again, is not carnivore, but you can eat it on low-carb keto or Ketovore. Coconut cream, again, not carnivore. You can eat it on low-carb keto or Ketovore. Macadamia, same. Onion, same. Yogurt, if it's a full-fat, completely unsweetened yogurt, then it technically is carnivore. Cured bacon, as long as there's not too much sugar, that's completely fine on carnivore. Nutritional yeast, again, not carnivore. No need to add that. Waste your money on that. You're going to be getting plenty of B vitamins from eating meat. Good question. Steve, thank you very much. Jerry, my doc is concerned about my 999 vitamin D. What are your thoughts? So if you're talking about your vitamin D 25 level, if it is 999, then you're taking too much vitamin D. You need to cut your vitamin D supplement by about 80 to 90%, because you want your vitamin D 25 level to be between 50 and 100. Now, if you meant to say 99.9, then that's completely fine and healthy. But if you truly meant 999, that's too high. This would be the highest one I've ever seen, actually. Nav, starting off carnivore, so I'm having diarrhea, but how would I know if eggs are suitable? Well, you won't know yet. So not everyone who starts carnivore has a few days of diarrhea. Some people do. And if you're one of those people, you just need to keep carnivore going for 2 to 3 weeks. The diarrhea is going to be gone in 2 to 3 weeks. And then if the diarrhea continues past that, then that's when you take out the egg whites and see if it doesn't resolve. JK, can sex break a fast? Should I avoid sex if I'm fasting for 3 to 5 days? No. Sex does not break your fast, regardless of what sexual thing you're doing. It doesn't break your fast. You're not going to ingest any meaningful amount of carbohydrates or spike your insulin level in any meaningful way. I want you to have sex as often as you can, JK, even when you're fasting. Donna, recently finished lots of routine screenings and saw my primary doctor. Again, all my tests, blood work is stellar. My doc is in great shape, but pre-diabetic. She noted has been for 3 years. She asked me how. Got to share with her. Yes, 100%. This is how a lot of people are getting their doctor on board. Their family doctor, their internal medicine doctor, their pediatrician. When the doctor sees how much healthier their patient is getting, doctors are just humans. Doctors are just dudes and chicks, just like you and me. Okay? When they see somebody who's literally transformed their health, even if it's a patient, if they've got any sense at all as a human being, they're going to say, damn, Donna, you look great. What are you doing? And then Donna's going to tell them. And when they see, and Donna, just her outward appearance, they may be like, well, okay, whatever. But then when they see the lab work, they're like, you used to be diabetic and now your A1C is beautiful. You used to have high triglycerides. Now your trigs are beautiful. You used to have a high CRP, lots of inflammation. Now your CRP is beautiful. How are you doing this again? Then Donna tells them again. And then the doctor Googles carnivore diet and watches one of my videos or one of Dr. Sean Baker's videos or one of Dr. Anthony Chaffee's videos. And they're like, so there's doctors doing this. All these doctors look very healthy. None of them are fat, although I used to be severely obese back when I used to eat the American Diabetes Association recommended diet. So more and more doctors, more and more nurse midwives, nurse practitioners, physician's assistants are like, dang, I keep seeing patients who are doing this keto or carnivore thing. Not only do they look great, they look like they're in very good mood, and also their labs look great. I think I might try that. Because I promise you, no doctor wants to be fat. No doctor wants to be pre-diabetic or type 2 diabetic. I promise you they don't. I've talked to hundreds of doctors. I just recently had a friend of mine who's an ER physician. When I first started talking about keto, carnivore, 8-9 years ago, he thought it was foolish. And we remained colleagues, but he was like, dude, why are you doing that? I'm like, because it works, dude. He's like, yeah, you lost weight, but I mean, I just got a text message from him about a month ago saying, dude, I just went carnivore because I found out I've been gaining weight. Obviously, that wasn't a surprise, but I also found out I'm diabetic, type 2. And so I started carnivore. A month later, my A1C was down to 2 percentage points, 2 points on the scale. And now my A1C is normal. Long live carnivore. Huzzah. Yeah. So doctors they can be set in their ways. They can be hard-headed. And they can look down at you as you're just a patient. What do you know? But when they see enough patients, when they see the second patient who's carnivore, the third, the 10th, the 20th, and they're all getting healthy and feel great and they're happy and their labs are great, any doctor with any sense at all is going to be like, I'm about to try this. So well done. Steve, just had my labs done after 2 months carnivore. LDL was 327. Doctor was desperate to put me on statins. CAC was 0. I feel great. Yeah. I don't think that there's any research out there that shows that you would benefit from taking a statin, Steve. There's actually more research that's going to be published very, very shortly. If you don't follow me on Twitter, you need to, because I'll be talking about it over there in the very near future. Thank you, Susan. Cam, do you know of any epilepsy that carnivore won't help? A friend is scheduled for 2 brain surgeries in the next 18 months due to seizures. So I'm sure there are some variants of seizure disorders that might not respond to a carnivore diet or a ketogenic diet. But the vast majority of just general seizure disorder, okay, they're all going to respond. You're going to have fewer seizures. You're going to have seizures less often. And that's it. And then if you go deeply enough into ketosis, the vast majority of people with a seizure disorder just don't have seizures at all. This has been known since the 1920s. Most doctors don't know that currently. How the hell that's possible, I'm not sure. But they don't know that. But that was before we had anti-seizure medications. That was the way that somebody who came in and just status epilepticus, just in a constant seizure that you couldn't get to break, you fasted them until the seizure stopped. And then when they were able to eat again, you put them on a ketogenic diet. Now, the ketogenic diet they used back in the 20s was very unhealthy. It was basically oil. Just drink this oil. But now we know how to do a ketogenic diet in a healthy manner. And there are thousands of people who have come off seizure medications that they just don't have seizures anymore as long as they're strict with their ketogenic diet. Everyone says fructose is more glycating than glucose, but what about galactose from dairy? Absolutely, it's a great question. So galactose looks to be somewhere between 7 to 10 times more glycating than glucose. Fructose is 7 to 10 times more glycating than glucose. So that, in my opinion, galactose is just as big a problem as fructose. Yes, it's a great point. And so, there's a lot of people out there who are on board with keto or ketovore or carnivore, but they're in love with raw milk. And I think raw milk, as long as you get it from a reputable, known source and it's properly handled, I think it's very safe. But it still has lots of galactose in it, which is going to glycate your cells and tissues and organs. And glycate means gum it up, make it sticky so it doesn't work as well. And yeah, I don't think anybody over the age of 4, 5, or 6 years of age needs to be drinking milk on a daily basis. I don't think it's healthy, even if it's raw milk. I think raw milk, if properly handled, is less bad than supermarket homogenized pasteurized milk. But being less bad does not make it good for adults. Good question. David, my dad is on blood thinner, Coumadin. Can he do carnivore, and could this help him get off it? Well, it depends on why he's on the Coumadin. There are multiple medical reasons why you might need to be on a blood thinner. The carnivore diet will not interfere with his Coumadin whatsoever. And so he can absolutely benefit all the hundreds of benefits of eating a carnivore diet and still be on his Coumadin. Whether it'll help him come off or not would depend on the reason why he's on it. Thank you, John Cook. Meat is where it's at, says we started carnivore 5 months ago and I reversed hydradenitis suppurativa, for which there's supposed to be no cure. That's exactly right. And many other things since we started So we started a YouTube channel. Meat is where it's at. There's somebody who I guarantee you, if you could go back in time and ask her, do you think this carnivore diet's going to do anything for you? She'd be like, I don't know, maybe lose some weight. Who knows? Hydradenitis suppurativa. If you don't know what that is, then you've never suffered from it or had a loved one who suffered from it. It's really, it's a pain in the ass. It's a condition that back before I knew about a proper human diet, I'm like, there's nothing really we can do steroids and this and that. We can make it a little better, but there's nothing we can really do about it. But I've gotten hundreds of emails and comments I've got a YouTube video about hydradenitis suppurativa. Hundreds of comments and emails saying, yeah, dude, as long as I eat whole food, real food, fatty, red meat, heavy keto, or ketovore or carnivore, my hydradenitis or HS it's non-existent. It's like I don't have it. But as soon as I start eating junk again, here it comes back. So I love it that you started a YouTube channel. I hope you've got lots of before pictures of your HS so that you can show those very often on the screen, because the average person with HS is like, there's nothing I can do. But there is something you can do. Plant-sparing carnivore. Literature shows Fosamax increases fracture risk, yet it's prescribed to postmenopausal women with osteoporosis and osteopenia. Well, vitamin D3, magnesium, calcium, more meat, protein, and less no plants because of their mineral absorption and inhibition factors help. Absolutely. I actually have videos about osteoporosis, osteopenia, osteomalacia, and bone health on my YouTube channel that you can watch. And you're right, the research about Fosamax, Boniva, Actonel, all those is very worrisome. It looks like that if you have severe osteoporosis, that taking one of these for a year might be beneficial, but then after taking it for longer than a year becomes very troublesome because of the fracture risk. There's a jaw condition where you lose blood supply to your jaw if you take them for too long. There's lots of weird little things about those. But some people, if they have severe osteoporosis, might benefit from taking that for a year. But after 12 months, I don't recommend them, whether it's the pill that you take or it's the injection or the infusion. If you've got severe osteoporosis, then if you have osteoporosis, you need to adopt a proper human diet immediately. And then you might benefit from Fosamax or Boniva or Actonel or one of the others for a year, but not past that. Okay. Vitamin D3 is very important. Vitamin K2 is also very important. Boron's important. Magnesium, calcium, and then eating all the meat and eggs you can get your hands on. Absolutely. Because the bones are made of a protein matrix. That's the foundation of your bones, not calcium. The foundation of your bones is a protein matrix. And then your body puts all the different minerals, calcium being one of them, into that protein matrix. Okay. So you got to eat the meat and the eggs to get the high quality protein to build back the bones. And then after you've got your diet sorted, then you start doing weight-bearing exercise. And it can be your own weight, right? So doing stand-up, sit-downs, doing weight-bearing exercise, or you can buy some weights that currently feel heavy to you and start working out with those weights. If you smoke, you've got to stop smoking. If you have osteopenia or osteoporosis, got to stop the smoking. And that's literally it. Eat meat and eggs, lift heavy things, don't smoke, and then recheck your bone density scan, your DEXA scan, check it every 12 months, and you'll see your osteoporosis start to level off, and then your bones will start to get more dense. Now, also keep in mind, there's a difference between bone density and bone strength. I've had many women who had osteoporosis, start a proper human diet, lifting heavy things, quit the smoking if they were smokers, and then when they repeated their bone mineral density in a year, it said the same thing. And they're like, it's no better. But the week before they had the bone density checked, they fell on an outstretched hand. And they're like, dude, a year ago, I would have broke that wrist from that fall. I would have broken an ankle. I'd have broke a hip. I didn't break anything. I just got bruised. Because bone density that the DEXA scan measures, that's not the same thing as bone strength. That's two different things. Keep that in mind. Keith, carnivore based here, but to replenish glycogen for sprinters and bodybuilders, what is the most efficient carb The most efficient carb is glucose that your liver makes through a process called gluconeogenesis. Okay, after you sprint or you work out really hard, your muscle glycogen will be depleted for a short period of time. And then your liver will make glucose and replenish all that glycogen without you ingesting any carbohydrates whatsoever. I don't know. There's so many fitness trainers that don't seem to understand this, that you don't stay glycogen depleted for a month or two after you do some sprints. Within minutes or an hour, your glycogen's already replenished. Your liver already took care of that without asking your permission and without giving you notice. Your liver fixes that. Just imagine if somebody did some sprints 10,000 years ago, and then they're just like, okay, I guess I'll just lay here because my glycogen's depleted. I can't do anything. No, your body's not an idiot, Keith. Your body had all this shit figured out before we even knew how to spell the word nutrition as a species. Your body's been doing a trial and error for millions of years. Your body doesn't need you to overthink this. Your body just needs you to eat a proper human diet. It'll take care of the rest. And now some of you guys who just joined may be saying, what's the proper human diet? Down in the show notes of this video, there's a link, Proper Human Diet Guidebook. You can get a free copy that gives you all the basics of a proper human diet. I'll email you a copy. Just click the link. Thank you, Craig. Ragnar, how about to start a 72-hour fast this weekend with only mineral water and Redmond's unflavored electrolytes and maybe some Zen pouches. Wish me luck, dudes. How many of you guys, I want to know what's the longest you've ever fasted, which means going without eating. And don't be ashamed if you're like, well, 8 hours because I was asleep. Put that in the comments. I want to know. I want to see how many of you guys have tried to do some longer fasting. What Ragnar is about to do is not in any way dangerous. It's not in any way unnatural. Every major religion of all around the world used to contain some degree of fasting. It was considered normal and healthy. But when the big food manufacturers took over all the advertising in magazines and television and now social media and the internet, it's weird if you're not going to eat for more than, 16 hours. Like, what are you, a weirdo? What are you, a food denier? It's normal and natural and healthy to not eat sometimes. I haven't broken my fast yet today. I ate last night at 6 p.m. and it's currently 4:30 here, my time. So almost 24 hours since I've eaten. And I'm not hungry at all. I may eat one meal today after I get done doing my work. I may not. Depends. If I get truly hungry, I'll eat. There's nothing dangerous about that. Your body's DNA has been dealing with not eating for millions of years. It's not a new thing. Your body's not going to be like, well, screw it. We haven't eaten 24 hours. Guess we'll just drop dead. It's not how it works. Not how it works, okay? Actually, your body has learned through the eons, through the millennia, to use not eating for several things. First of all, cleanup through a process called autophagy and mitophagy. And there's other tophagies as well that your body's doing behind the scenes. You don't have to push a button to make it do it. It just starts doing it if you haven't eaten in so many hours, about 18 hours for autophagies when it seems like it starts to increase. You actually get more, your senses get more acute. You become more aware of your surroundings. Your reaction time can actually decrease, like it takes you less time to react to something, because that's going to help you have a successful hunt, that your vision's a little sharper, your hearing's a little sharper, that your reaction time is cut down so you can have a successful hunt and then eat. So don't think fasting's weird or dangerous or unhealthy. That's completely untrue. Anybody that says, oh, if you fast, then that's an eating disorder, you can hit the unfollow button on, because they do not understand even the basics about human physiology. Or mammal physiology for that matter, much less humans. Keith, Carnivore here. Yeah, we already got Keith. Okay, gotcha. Ragnar, Angela, bile reflux gastritis, told to do low fat. Yeah, that's bad advice, Angela. First of all, I doubt seriously if you're having bile reflux into your esophagus. They may have seen some bile reflux on an EGD down in your stomach. I doubt that seriously too. Probably was some reflux from the sphincter of Oddi down in your duodenum. But that happens sometimes. That's not necessarily a problem at all. If you'll adopt a proper human diet and stick to it religiously, Angela, your gastritis is going to be gone within a few weeks to a few months. And if you don't know what a proper human diet is, down in the show notes, you can get a free copy of the Proper Human Diet Guidebook just by clicking the link. John, I was in an MVA, motor vehicle accident. CT scan said heart mediastinum, severe coronary calcium. PCP said statins. No, I was on statins for 15 years. Stopped 2 years ago. Next step. So your next step, John, number one is to adopt a proper human diet immediately. Stick to it religiously. You need to think of it as a therapeutic diet for you, because if you've got severe coronary calcifications, you're at risk of a heart attack. Okay, you need to lower the inflammation in your body immediately. You need to lower the fructose intake, the sugar intake, the grains, the vegetable seed oils, all that stuff needs to go. Okay, and then you need to start living a proper human lifestyle, which involves some exertion. And that can be lifting heavy things. That can be running fast, swimming fast. That can be vigorous activity in the bedroom. But you need to start getting sweaty and out of breath at least twice a week. That plus a proper human diet, plus getting good quality sleep, plus learning how to cope with the stress that is modern life. We all have stress. You can't get rid of the stress. That always cracks me up when influencers are like, you've got to get stress out of your life. What the hell does that look like? How you go? How you gotta go to work and make your money. How you gonna get rid of your boss? You gonna bump him off? You're gonna have stress in modern life. Okay. What you have to do is learn how to cope with that stress and be like, yeah, he's an asshole. I hate him, but there's nothing I can do about that. So I'm just going to let that go. I'm not going to let him get to me anymore. And when he starts his crap, like you know he's going to do, you laugh at him, not to his face, because that might cause more stress. But you just like, okay, well, yeah, it's fine. I'm not even going to let him raise my blood pressure. I'm not even going to let him raise my pulse. That's how you cope with stress in modern society. Unless you want to move to a cave somewhere, but then you'd have a whole new list of stressors. You're going to have stress in your life. Accept that. That's normal. That's how you know you're alive, is you got drama and trauma and stress. It's how you react to the stress. And for some people who stressful situations really get to them, that's hard to hear what I just said. You're like, no, you don't understand. Yes, I do understand. You are a human being just like me and everybody else. We've been coping with stressful situations since we've been on this planet. If you can rewire your brain to go, yeah, my mother-in-law is an expletive. My father-in-law gets on my last nerve. Whoever, whatever. My spouse is driving me nuts. Either fix the situation if you can. If you can't fix the situation, then you've got to learn how to let it roll off your back. Be like, I'm not even going to sweat it. I don't even care. He didn't pick his pants and underwear up again. Fine, whatever. I don't even care. Stop letting it raise your blood pressure and your pulse. That's what you need to do, John. I hope that helps. Make sure and get a copy of the Proper Human Diet Guidebook down in the show notes. Craig, I've been on Carnivore since December 26th of last year. My sugar readings are still 300. Why is this? You're almost certainly a type 1 diabetic, Craig. You've probably been misdiagnosed as a type 2. I've seen this multiple times. The average doctor, when they see somebody in their 30s, 40s, and 50s with high blood sugar, it's their knee-jerk response, oh, you have type 2 diabetes. But if you're eating true carnivore and your blood sugar is still over 300, then your pancreas is not making enough insulin. So you need to go and ask your doctor to check a fasting insulin level, which is probably going to be 0 or close to it. And then you're going to have to get on an injectable long-acting insulin. Stay carnivore, because if you weren't carnivore, your blood sugars would be 700 or 800. But then you'll inject a little bit of insulin at night, and that'll keep the blood sugar right where it needs to be on your carnivore diet. Now, if your insulin production is literally 0, then you may have to use some mealtime insulin because of the protein in the carnivore. But I've had several guys whose fasting insulin was 0.3, 0.4, 0.5. So if they were eating a standard American diet, they would have had to been on a ton of insulin. But as long as they stayed carnivore, they could use 5 or 10 units of Lantus at bedtime, kept their A1C beautiful. But you've probably been misdiagnosed. Susan, really appreciate your work. What is your opinion on IGF-1 and animal protein? What is the safe amount of animal protein for an active female? So here's how you determine the safe amount of animal protein for you. When you're hungry, you start eating fatty meat and eggs with the yolk. And when you're full, you stop eating. And then you don't eat again until you're hungry, Susan. Don't worry about IGF-1. Like I said earlier, your physiology, your DNA has been dealing with eating predominantly animal protein for hundreds of thousands of years. This is not some new development. Oh my God, we can check IGF-1 now. Oh, no, you better not eat too much animal protein. It's like, that'd be like saying, oh, Susan, if you breathe too much air, it's going to make your IGF-1 get out of whack. If you drink too much pure water, it's going to make your IGF-1. Wouldn't you be like, what? What are you talking about? I have to breathe air. I have to drink water. Well, guess what, folks? We've been eating lots of fatty animal meat for just exactly as many days as we as a species have been breathing air and drinking water. Meat is not a new thing to the human diet. It has literally been around since we've been a species. There's no danger in eating all the animal protein and animal fat that you want. This is a myth. This is a lie. Plant-based doctors and other providers and influencers and gurus, they love to talk about TMAO and IGF-1, and now it's ApoB and LP(a). They love to talk about these things because they think it will push you towards a plant-based diet. They forget, or they never learned. See, I was an animal biologist before I went to medical school. I got my undergraduate degree in animal biology. I also got a minor in psychology. So not only do I understand the biology and physiology of mammals, but I also understand the psychology of the plant-based gurus. And if they say, oh, TMAO, you better cut down on the red meat because it'll make your TMAO go up. Same for IGF-1, all the other markers that the plant-based people love to talk about. They don't want to just come out and say, if you don't eat a plant-based diet, then you're immoral. You're a bad person, because they know that's not going to work. So they try to scare you with some weird marker. And you're like, oh shit, my IGF-1. Okay, I guess I need to limit animal protein. There's a technical term in medicine that doctors use for things like this. It's called bullshit. Yeah. Eat animal fat and animal protein until you're comfortably stuffed, Susan. Do that once a day, twice a day, even 3 times a day. That's how much animal protein is healthy for you. Petra, will carnivore lower ALT levels? If your ALT levels are being caused by fatty liver, a carnivore diet will reverse your fatty liver and get rid of it within a few weeks to 3 months. It'll be gone. Keto will do the same thing. Ketovore will do the same thing. I've got multiple videos about fatty liver and liver health and ALT and AST and GGT on this YouTube channel. You can check those out. So yeah, if it's caused by your chronic alcohol abuse, your ALT is probably not going to come down much until you stop drinking alcohol. If it's being caused by your chronic overuse of Tylenol and ibuprofen or Motrin or a Aleve or naproxen, then you need to stop those things, and that'll help it come back down as well. But the vast majority of people with elevated ALT, AST have fatty liver from the carbohydrates that they're over consuming. Okay, now make sure your doctor checks the hepatitis panel and make sure you didn't catch hepatitis and you didn't know about it, because sometimes that can happen. Also, make sure your doctor checks an AST and a GGT, and then you're going to adopt a carnivore diet, and then you're going to recheck those labs every 3 months, and you're going to see those labs go right back down to normal if fatty liver is the reason they were elevated. Plant-sparing carnivore follow-up question. What about alcohol with osteoporosis and osteopenia? Thank you so much for all you do. So alcohol hasn't been as tightly linked to osteoporosis and osteopenia as smoking. It's still bad. All alcohol is poison. Regardless of whether you have osteopenia, osteoporosis, or any other medical condition, you need to limit the amount of alcohol you're drinking. It's not healthy for any human on the planet to have an alcoholic beverage every day. 100%, I'm just going to tell you. If you don't like that, I'm sorry. I still love you, but the truth is the truth, even if it hurts. I think it's fine to have a drink on the weekend, one drink on the weekend. If you just love alcohol and you want to have a drink on Friday night, I think that's not a huge deal. But anybody who says, oh, you can have a glass of red wine in the evening, no, it's poison. I'm sorry. It just is. My friend Huberman has got hours of talking about this. He's been researching this for years. He's exactly right about alcohol. Any amount of alcohol is a poison, the end, period. There is no health benefit from alcohol. None, zero. But with that being said, Nisha and I were just making plans for our New Year's Eve coming up, and I'll have a drink or two on New Year's Eve. And then I won't drink again for a month or 2 or 3 or 4. I don't drink every day. It's not healthy. It's bad for you. Does that clear that up? All right, guys. Coming up at in 12 minutes, I'm going to be live inside of our private group, and we got 2,600 people asking questions right now on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter. Inside of the private group, we'll have 100 people asking me questions. So if you didn't get your question answered here, click the link down below that says join our community. Okay. We've got a private community where we can talk about everything. Some things on YouTube I can't talk about, or I'll get a strike. But inside the private group, there is no such thing as strikes. We can talk about anything that regards your health. Okay. So join our community, and you want to pick the $12 level, because every Wednesday at 5 p.m. Central, which is what it's about to be at the top of the hour here, we go live inside the private group at the $12 level. Now, there is a $5 level, and we do one extra live Q&A just like this inside the group, and there'll be 300 or 400 people instead of 2,700. Okay. But if you got important health, nutrition, medical questions you need answers to, and you are kind of not trusting your doctor anymore, find a new doctor and join our private community. We've got 10 health coaches in there who are certified with the Primal Health Coaching. That's the only health coaching that I recognize and recommend. Primal Health's been doing it for years. When a health coach, when that becomes a real thing, which it will in a few years, Primal Health coaches are going to be grandfathered in because the quality of their training is so high. We got 10 people, men and women inside the group, who are Primal Health Coach certified right now. You can pick a coach and become their friend, ask them any question you want. Nisha and I and the coaches are live in there 5, 6, 7 times a week answering questions. So the link's in the show notes if you want to follow me over, so that in 10 minutes, I'll be live again. You can ask your questions with 100 people asking questions instead of 2,600. All right, guys, that's it. I'm out of here. Thanks for hanging out with me. I'll see you.